evening and welcome to tonight's council meeting for Glenorchy City Council. It's Monday the 29th of March 2021. It's just after 6 p.m. Apologies for a late start. We have had some technical issues. I'd like to begin tonight's council meeting by acknowledging the Tasmanian Aboriginal community as the original, traditional and continuing custodians of the land that we're gathering on tonight, and pay my deep respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We are streaming our council meeting live to Facebook tonight. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, we're unable to have members of the public present in our council chambers. We do have most members of our council though in council chambers, and we have online joining us via Zoom, Alderman Dunsby. So I'll just go quickly around the council chambers to let you know who is present. We have Alderman Peter Bull, Alderman Angela Ryan, Alderman Stephen King, Deputy Mayor Beck Thomas, myself Mayor Johnston. Next to me I have General Manager Tony McMullen, Alderman Gay Richardson, Alderman Simon Fraser, Alderman Melissa Carlton. As I said, we have also Alderman Jan Dunsby joining us via Facebook and Zoom. Apologies for tonight. Item 1 is from Alderman Kelly Sims. We'll note her apologies. Item 2 is confirmation of the minutes for open meeting. Do I have someone to move, please, the minutes of the council meeting held on the 22nd of February 2021 be confirmed, and also those of the special council meeting held on the 9th of March 2021 be confirmed. Thank you, Alderman Richardson. Someone to second, please. Thank you, Alderman Carlton. Alderman Richardson?
Happy to take them as read.
Thank you. Any discussion of those minutes? No discussion. I'll put the motion then. If you can indicate by raising your hand, please, for. That's carried unanimously. Item 3, announcements by the Chair. I do have an announcement for tonight. It is an honour and a privilege to serve this community as Mayor since 2014. My time as Mayor has seen the uncovering of maladministration and injustice through the Board of Inquiry process, Integrity Commission investigation and an Auditor General's investigation. This term of council since 2018 has been all about rebuilding the foundations of our council. We are now a council who has ticked off every one of our ministerial directions and who now leads the sector in good governance. We have worked hard to regain the trust and confidence of our community. And we are now known as a can-do council, one that advocates strongly on behalf of our community and attracts $1.9 billion development pipeline. I'm incredibly proud of how far we've come and excited about where we are going. I had always said and believe that the renewal of council is important. To this end, it's always been my intention to only ever serve as Mayor for 2 terms. I strongly believe that there are other good people in our community who can more than adequately step up and continue to grab the opportunities we've created and build on them. My second term is due to end in October 2022. As many of you would be aware, on the 27th of February this year, I announced that I intend to stand as an independent candidate for clerk. There have been many rumours circulating about my intentions at the time, and I felt that it was important and the honest thing to do to declare my intentions once I had made up my mind. I came to the decision to stand after listening to the frustrations within the community about poor party politics and how it's serving us, and my frustrations that many of the issues that we deal with on a daily basis as Mayor fall squarely within the remit of state government and that they're being ignored. I feel very privileged to have served this community as Mayor, but I firmly believe that it's time to fight the good fight at a state level on behalf of our community. It has been a very interesting 10 days or so in Tasmanian politics, and the Premier has called an election for the state on 1 May 2021, almost an entire year before it's actually due. Whilst I can continue on in my position as Mayor during the campaign and election period, I will be asking Council tonight for a leave of absence from Council, effective from Friday the 2nd of April through to Saturday the 1st of May inclusive. I believe that this is the appropriate thing to do in the best interest of our Council. Again, whilst there's no requirement to, I'll also be foregoing my aldermanic and mayoral allowance during this time, as I feel it's also the appropriate thing to do. If the leave of absence is granted by Council, this would mean that the Deputy Mayor will take on the position of Acting Mayor during this time. Whilst I don't think anyone can predict what will happen on the 1st of May, if I am successful, then this will be my last Council meeting. I'm really proud of the Council that we've become and want to acknowledge the hard work of everyone involved, my aldermanic colleagues, the General Manager, the executive team and staff here at Council, and most importantly, the community who have been so supportive. Thank you very much. Item 4 is pecuniary interest notification. Do any aldermen have pecuniary interest on tonight's council agenda? Alderman Carlton.
Thank you, Mayor. I have an interest in item 12, the Memorandum of Understanding with Wellington Park Management Trust.
Thank you. Any further conflicts, pecuniary interest? Yes, Alderman Richardson.
Yes, I have a conflict of interest under item 15, the petition from Avia Waters residents.
Any further ones? I'm declaring a conflict of interest in item 20, Lev absence as well. Like that one. If there's no further pecuniary interest notification, we'll move on to item 5. Responses to previous public questions taken on notice. They are provided in the council agenda, which is published online for members of the public who might be watching along at home. They're recorded there. We move on to item 6, public question time, 15 minutes. Now, normally when we don't have the COVID-19 restrictions, we allow members of the public in our council chamber, and it's available for members of the public to ask questions of our council. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19 restrictions, that's not possible, but we have, from time to time, had members of the public email in questions, and so we have them recorded when we receive them before the council agenda is published, recorded in our agenda, and you'll see that we have some questions there from Mr Steenbergen in relation to a number of items that have been published in the council agenda. I don't believe we've received any since then. Item 7, petitions and deputations. We have received a new petition from Miss Janice Bryan of Montrose, Stop Selling Our Car Park, with 864 signatories. We haven't checked those yet, but we will table that tonight at council's meeting. Thank you very much, General Manager. We'll note that that's been tabled. And move on to item 8, announcements by the Mayor. Do I have someone to move this item, please? Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Someone to second? Alderman Richardson. Alderman Fraser.
No comments, Mayor. Happy to open it up for other people to ask questions.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion of the item? No discussion. I will put the motion then. You can indicate for by raising your hand, please. That's carried unanimously.
Just a point, I hope we're not going to ask the Deputy Mayor to have to go through this for the next month as well.
It's up to the Deputy Mayor if she would like to do that.
No doubt.
Item 9, investigation of disposal long-term lease of part of public land at 210 Delosa Street, Glenorchy, Mitchell Range. Do I have someone to move this item, please? Moved Alderman King, seconded Alderman Bull. Alderman King.
Thanks, Mayor. Look, this is pretty straightforward. It's all about intention and consideration. I think it's all fairly clear in the item itself.
Thank you very much, Alderman King. Do I have someone else like to speak to the item? Any further discussion? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to make it clear, I guess that what we are endorsing tonight is not the disposal of this land, but we are receiving the report on the feedback we've received from our community in response to the initial investigation into the proposed disposal by way of long-term lease of this land. And we will now, the recommendation that we are voting on tonight is to commence the Section 178 process required. So happy to approve that we move on with that process.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Any further discussion of the item? No further discussion, Alderman King? I'll put the motion if you indicate for by raising your hand, please. That's carried unanimously. Item 10, can do community grants. Do I have someone to move this item, please? Thank you, Alderman Richardson. Someone to second, please. Thank you, Alderman King. Alderman Richardson.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just happy to receive and note the report on the grants. It was wonderful to read that the money went to some really good initiatives and provided opportunity for social interaction under difficult circumstances. Just thank all those community groups that applied for the grant. There was some innovative thinking, generating some great outcomes, and just thank you, staff, for their work with the program.
Thank you very much, Alderman Richardson. Further discussion of the item? No further discussion. It's carried unanimously. Item 11, Economic Development Strategy Year 1 Update. Do I have someone to move this item, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Someone to second? Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm very pleased to receive this report, 1 year of progress towards our economic development strategy. And, well, we couldn't probably have predicted the year that we were to have when we endorsed this strategy early in 2020. So really pleased to see that we exceeded our target in relation to gross regional product growth. At the target we set in our plan was 2.1%, the target we set was 1.8%, and the outcome was 2.1% of growth in our gross regional product to June 2020. I note that employment growth, we didn't meet our target there, but obviously that was due to factors out of our control and COVID, so that was to be expected. The other targets in relation to population growth and post-secondary qualifications, we can't assess as yet because we're waiting on data and 2021 census data. But we continue to work towards the activities in our action plan from our economic development strategy, and some of the key highlights and achievements in just 12 months have been the Greater Glenorchy Plan that we recently endorsed as a council, the Showcase Moona project, which is underway, and we've received 32 applications for that program, so that's wonderful. The Jobs Hub, we've got that in progress and out for tender. And the Berriedale Peninsula Master Plan has been endorsed. We've completed the sale of the deck in Wilkinson's Point, and that project is progressing at a rate of knots. If anyone's walked around the foreshore area recently, you would see that the deck is definitely looking different, and things are happening. The land supply analysis has also been completed, which is a really important step for us as a council. So I'm very happy to note the progress, and I congratulate the staff and our community for the work to date in the economic development space. I know it's a really important area for our community, and I look forward to the continuing action. I'll open it up to the floor.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Any further discussion of the item? No further discussion. I will put the motion then, if you can indicate for by raising your hand, please. That's carried unanimously. Item 12, Memorandum of Understanding with Wellington Park Management Trust, and we'll just note that Alderman Carlton is leaving the room as she's declared a pecuniary interest in this item. Do I have someone to move this item, please? Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Someone to second, please. Thank you, Alderman King. Alderman Fraser.
So we have two recommendations before us. The first is to approve Memorandum of Understanding between Glenorchy City Council and the Wellington Park Management Trust. That's fairly routine. The second recommendation, however, refers to the terms of reference for the Management Advisory Committee. I just wondered whether perhaps the General Manager could just provide a little context and background on the need for this recommendation at the moment.
Manager?
Through you, Mayor. The advice of the operational staff within Council is that about a decade ago there was a Parks Forum which conducted a review of the operations of the MAC and recommended, when I say MAC, the Management Advisory Committee, and recommended that it provide more of a prominent role in enabling agency inputs of trust members. As it stands at the moment, Council has nominated Alderman Carlton to be its representative or to be a member of the trust. But once appointed by the Minister, Alderman Carlton becomes a member of the trust, and her duties are to the trust in respect of trust matters. Whilst the prime purpose of the Management Advisory Committee is to advise the trust manager on operational matters, it's considered important that there be some mechanism in the event that member agencies have a concern that they wish to bring forward for the consideration of the trust itself, that there be some mechanism provided in those terms of reference, and that's the recommendation before Council tonight.
Very much, General Manager. Anything further, Alderman Fraser?
Nothing further, thank you.
Any further discussion of this item? Alderman Richardson.
Yes, just in the terms of reference, it makes reference to the 35,000 contribution on behalf of Glenorchy Council. How was that figure arrived at? Where does it come from?
That figure was part of the negotiation. I've come into the negotiation a little bit later in the piece, so I don't know the precise derivation, but it effectively is a figure that supports the Secretariat of the Wellington Park Trust.
We're not the only council that make a contribution, and they do the same amount. Do all other councils do that?
I'm not aware of the precise. So Hobart City Council has 2 members on the Wellington Park Trust. I'm not clear of their precise contribution. I understand that they have been making some recent moves towards their contribution being tied to specific project outcomes. However, the negotiation to date, and when I picked it up, Bill, this wasn't an issue that was regarded as a concern for council from the advice that I had. So we had a range of other issues to negotiate, but this wasn't one of them that was seen as being a problematic thing for council.
Alderman Richardson?
No, I think that's it. Thank you.
Any further discussion of the item? No, go back to the mover, Alderman Fraser. Nothing. I'll put the motion then, if you can indicate for by raising your hand, please. That's carried unanimously. We'll get someone to get Alderman Carlton back into the room, please. Thank you, General Manager.
Looking around the corner.
Item 13, nominations for General Management Committee of Local Government Association of Tasmania, LEGAT. We have a recommendation here that Council nominate an eligible alderman or councillor to a position to the General Management Committee of Local Government Association of Tasmania, and 2, consider whether to nominate an eligible alderman or council for president of LEGAT. Do I have someone to move the recommendation or an alternative recommendation, as we have a choice here? Alderman Fraser, you're moving that we nominate someone?
Yes.
Who would you like to put in for the nomination?
Dean Winter.
Dean Winter. So nominate Dean, we'll say Mayor of Kingborough.
Do we need to say?
He's a councillor.
Councillor. Oh,
Dean
yes.
Winter to a position on the General Management Committee. And then part 2, consider whether to nominate an eligible alderman or councillor for president of LEGAT. Would you like to leave that in or out or add something to that? I'm not sure what he's nominated for, to be honest. We can nominate him. He could decline the nomination if he was so wishes. Yes? Okay. So that 2 would then become to nominate Mayor of Kingborough, Councillor Dean Winter, for President of LEGAT. Does that sound okay, Alderman Fraser? Got that? Excellent. That's moved by Alderman Fraser. Someone to second, please. Thank you, Alderman King. Alderman Fraser.
No, nothing. I think Dean would be an excellent representative for Southern Tasmania, and I'm very happy to support his nomination.
Alderman Fraser, any further discussion of the item? No further discussion. I will put the motion then, if you can indicate for by raising your hand, please. That's carried unanimously. Item 14. Updated open data policy. Do I have someone to move this item, please? Thank you, Alderman Ryan. Someone to second? Alderman Richardson. Alderman Ryan, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes. Council's open data policy is scheduled for regular review. However, due to oversight, the last review was missed. This oversight was flagged at the last meeting of the audit panel. As noted in the minutes of that meeting on the 12th of February, the policy was reviewed as a matter of urgency. The policy facilitates compliance by Council with the Right to Information Act 2009, which provides for the control and release of information. The policy also aligns with the Glenorchy City Council strategic plan. The policy is restricted to data for which Council is copyright owner. The policy has been reviewed and the changes are not dramatic. The language has been updated, but the principles remain the same. So I'm happy to move that Council adopt the updated open data policy.
Alderman Ryan, any further discussion of the item?
Alderman Dunsby.
Thank you, Alderman Dunsby.
Yes, I just want to ensure that we do have processes in place, that we're not going to have this occur again where a policy's been overlooked. I know I did actually mention this perhaps a couple of years ago. Did we have the processes in place? So here we are, we've one overlooked, And do we have good processes in place now to ensure that all our policies are there and currently reviewed?
General Manager? For the Director of Corporate Governance? Corporate Services. Corporate
Thanks very
Services.
much, Alderman Dunsby. Yes, I'd like to acknowledge the work that's been undertaken by the Governance Department now to audit all policies and to have a strict deadline for those policies to be reviewed, and it's now in an automated system that flags those policies. We send those policies out 3 months prior to their due date now to be reviewed, and then to come back if there are any changes to those policies. So I certainly believe that we have a much stronger protocol in place, and that limits this issue arising again in the future.
Director, anything further? Alderman Dunsby?
Thank you for that update.
Lovely. Any further discussion of the item? If not, I'll go back to the mover, Alderman Ryan. I'll put the motion, then if you indicate for by raising your hand, please. That's carried unanimously. Item 15, petition AVO Waters Residents, 57 Cadbury Road, Claremont. Do I have someone to move this item, please? And we've noted that Alderman Richardson has declared an interest and is leaving the council chambers. Do I have a mover for this item, please? Thank you, Alderman King. Someone to second? Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Alderman King.
I think this is fairly straightforward, Mayor, that we're receiving and noting the petition received, and note that the petition was included as it says in the motion. So I think it's pretty straightforward. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Alderman King. Any further discussion of this item? Alderman Fraser?
It's probably worth just making a few comments. I noticed in the cover letter there's some issues raised around water pressure and sewerage pipes, and I was at the GPA meeting when this was approved in the audience, and there's a thorough analysis goes into by council engineers before these sort of developments are approved. I certainly didn't. There was no indication that this was going to be an issue. So I'm not sure that's really a very valid concern at this point. What does concern me, though, is when people oppose developments because of the type of people they think are going to live there. It's a little bit offensive, I must say. It's a little bit offensive to people also that are looking for housing. In this particular case, this development is not targeted at lower socioeconomic residents, but even if it was, it is still quite offensive to point the finger at a community or a class, so to speak, of people and say we don't want those people living near us. I think that needs to be called out.
Thank you, Alderman Fraser. Any further discussion of the item? All right. I'll go back to the mover, Alderman King.
Thank you, Mayor. I could say that sewerage has come a long way since I grew up out there. We used to have a night cut come around, and so
It's improved dramatically.
try not to be too flippant, but things have improved greatly, and the traffic flow has improved greatly too. I used to watch the traffic flow for half an hour at a time when the shifts changed. So things have improved, and I'm sure, as Alderman Fraser said, works have been done in an appropriate way. Excuse my flippancy, but it's just the memory flashed back into my mind, and the gentleman coming to collect stuff. So, no, thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman Fraser. I'll put the motion. You can indicate for by raising your hand, please. That's Alderman Bull, Alderman Ryan, Alderman King, Deputy Mayor Thomas, Mayor Johnston, Alderman Fraser and Alderman Carlton. Those against, please. Alderman Dunsby.
That's all, thank
abstaining? We've got
I'm
a bit of
abstaining from the vote, Mayor.
abstaining. Okay, we'll note your abstention then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman Dunsby. Motion is carried. Moving on to item 16, Financial Performance Report to 28 February 2021. If we can collect Alderman Richardson. Come back into the room.
To move the motion to Mayor as she comes in.
Wish to. Thank you, Alderman Richardson. Welcome back. We are on to item 16, Financial Performance Report to 28 February 2021. Do I have someone to move this item, please? A mover. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Someone to second, please. We'll go Alderman Bull, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to move our financial performance report. I note our financial position is $1.89 million better than we had budgeted for, but the forecast end of financial year result is still for a 491,000 better than expected. So not likely that improvement that we currently see will be sustained through to the end of the financial year, but still a little bit better forecast. I also note that this recommendation requests that we make a minor variation to our budget for our long-term financial management plan, and I'm happy to support that and open up the floor for questions or comment.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any further discussion of the item? No further discussion? Nothing further, Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor.
I'll put the motion then. If you can indicate for by raising your hand, please. That's carried unanimously. Item 17, Procurement and Contracts Monthly Report. Do I have someone to move this item, please? Thank you, Alderman Richardson. Someone to second?
Alderman Dunsby.
Thank you, Alderman Dunsby. Alderman Richardson.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'm happy to receive and note the report for the period 10th February to 15 March, noting that there's the one exemption, and that's for, I believe, an add-on to Tech 1 for IT purchased, so no. And a maintenance contract, right. Okay, and I think they've been included in the budget, so I don't think there's any area of concern there, so that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Richardson. Any further discussion of the item? No further discussion. I'll put the motion. If you can indicate for or against, for by raising your hand. That's carried unanimously. Item 18. Notice of motion questions on notice without notice. Now, we have received and circulated just prior to our council meeting the questions on notice from Alderman Fraser from last meeting on the 22nd of February regarding barking complaints. The answer has been provided and it will be included in our minutes. Do I have any other questions on notice without notice or notice of motion for tonight's meeting in open council? None, in which case I will seek someone to move that we go into closed council, please. Moved Alderman King, seconded Alderman Bull. I'll put the motion. If you can raise your hand for, please. That's carried unanimously. The public for tuning into our council meeting for March. Our next council meeting will be in the last Monday in April. The Deputy Mayor will hopefully be the acting Mayor at that particular point in time, and thank you very much for joining us. Again, make sure you check out our Facebook page for updates on council business and our website as well. Take care and we'll see you soon.